Season 4 of Blood Bonding. Can you believe it's been this long already? Welcome to the 4th season. I wrote all these notes wrong. Postseason interview show for ATL by Night. I am your host, Emily Thomas. And as you can see, we have Boys Night tonight. I have with me Tyler Sutherland, who plays Aaron, Zach Vaudo, who plays Anton, and a new face, Ian Muller, who plays Jackson. How are we tonight?
Not bad, not bad.
A few bits of housekeeping to get out of the way. We have some announcements around the Rusted Icon glasses. They still have our Renasherie Camarilla pint glasses at rustedicon.net. If you want to get a Lost Child or Play guide so you can play, I believe you came from the Lost Child or Play sheet? Mm-hmm. If you want to play like Aaron, then you can get a Lost Child or Play guide at atlbynight.net. If you would like to join our play-by-post server, you can sponsor us at patreon.com/atlbynight. And if you would like to join our fan Discord server, just so you can discuss things with the cast and crew and other fans, you can go to the link that will probably be popping up in chat right now, or if you can type it, I think it's on the screen somewhere down that way, I'm pretty sure. So, hi, how are we doing? Are we having a good Tuesday? It is Tuesday, as it always is.
It's always Tuesday. Yeah.
Typical Tuesday.
It's nice to have a good consistency to it.
It's Tuesday every day for me. I've found that for the last year.
Until someone tells me otherwise, right? Every day.
I have to say, I'm grateful for having something consistently on Tuesday the entire year and the entire pandemic, because it's meant that I have a good marker of what's going on every week.
It's a great timekeeping device. It's a fantastic. This show has been just like an anchor to reality.
Yeah.
Just pro tip, don't start streaming every day of the week.
No.
Because then it all blurs together again.
No, hell no, we're never doing that.
Well, that's what a studio's for. You've got the one studio where we all get tested, we all are quarantined.
No, we like our Tuesdays.
We do. That's very true. So we can go ahead and jump right into questions. So, first thing, just to kind of keep it lighthearted, if your characters had one night with no disasters happening, no fires put out, nothing, how would they spend the night?
Impossible.
We did just watch What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, it's probably just, like cleaning house and whatnot. I mean, as a group, individually.
Pick. Maybe you're having I don't know, Halo night, except that Aaron would destroy the Xbox.
Aaron just backseat Halos.
Just shoot
in the corner.
I was so much better at this.
Pick up that gun. That gun is better.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is we have this giant freaking house now that has to get maintained somehow. The only ghoul that we have on the premises is security, and for Mel, and not a house cleaning ghoul. So somebody has to do it. It'll wind up being us. So we imagine you miss a lot of that.
I mean, one of you's got submerged directive, right? When the sink is full, you clean the dishes.
Not yet.
I don't live with you, so it's not my problem.
Not yet.
The thought of Anton with yellow gloves and an apron, just ready to go.
I mean,
sounds accurate.
It's happened, I'm sure. And then individually, like Anton was involved in a lot of just general Atlanta nightlife. Like,
Tremere can't bond humans as ghouls for a very long time, right?
No, they can, but it takes they can for the same amount of time, but it takes additional vitae. Like whereas it would normally take like 3 times, it takes 4.
Yeah, so at that point, it's easier to clean up the blood yourself.
It is, yeah. Be self-sufficient.
Valid.
Yeah, like Anton knows like all the different clubs that we wound up going to over the course of the seasons and different museums and whatnot. So probably just a lot of the normal Atlanta nightlife stuff, but with a bit more security around it for me because Second Inquisition and Sabbat now.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of Second Inquisition, Sabbat, we've had a ton of twists and turns this season. We've had a lot of plot reveals, character reveals. What was your favorite plot twist, plot reveal this season? We'll limit it to season 4.
I think I'm looking at it.
Hi.
At
Hello.
some point, I think in the mid-season, we had our Christmas episode, and out of character, I was convinced that Jackson and
Raphael
were Ravnos. Just based on like the traveling and like the sun bleachedness
And the lying.
and
And the fact that Ian has Ravnos all over his profiles online.
so much.
Put on the nose at that
So
point.
gears in my head started to turn in as far as like, can a Zamisi like fake? Because I know Anton did blood testing and everything. So can they like pump enough gangrel blood into you to make it trick taste of vitae or something?
Just like what's that? Chelation? Just chelate you with gangrel blood?
Well, yeah, and this thing is like there is weird stuff because Anton learned that both Raphael and Jackson were recently but not currently blood bonded, and Jackson cannot be blood bonded. So something weird happened that Anton is extraordinarily curious about.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean that's a very fair assumption to think like maybe there is like more than meets the eye to this
Or
situation.
Jackson's lying.
Or Jackson's lying. But which he has a track record of it. But
I don't know what you're talking about.
my favorite twist is probably just like the payoff on Dot being an absolute traitor.
Yeah, and on Lydia having a connection to Alejandro, too. That was one that was a really interesting drop in last episode of... Oh, I should have reminded you. This is going to have spoilers in it.
It is the season 4 post show, after all.
I hope y'all know by now that this is a spoiler-full show, not spoiler-free. We are in a spoiler-happy zone.
And you almost got to that when Alejandro squeaked a little bit, but
And that was one of those things, because that was one of those things where the player absolutely saw that Alejandro stuttered when I mentioned the bishop by name, but I was not rolling well enough as Anton, so Anton just something's weird, okay.
That's valid.
It sucks the one time that the character that is smarter than me is not smarter than me. I'm like...
There's different types of smart. There's book smart like Tremere, and then there's people smart, not like Tremere.
Like everyone but Tremere. It's self-serving, but mine is being like, oh, by the way, I also have vicissitude and blood sorcery.
I figured on the vicissitude in the season 4 prologue with the weird eyes.
No, that's just a permanent clan bane feature
okay.
because he's frenzied too many times.
Fair. With them being
spoilers,
with them being so different, I assumed it was a personal modification.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, the blood sorcery took me by surprise. But Anton did not notice it.
He's frenzied. His main thing when he frenzies is that he gets cat eyes,
right?
And he's just done it so many times they're just stuck in between cat eyes and normal human eyes, so they're just weird misshapen pupils.
They just kind of look like goat eyes.
Vaguely, yeah.
Just hit the
just like 90 degrees.
Yeah.
So, Tyler, I think this season is probably the most we've heard about Aaron's sire and some of what Aaron went through with his sire. How is Aaron dealing with some of the things that happened this season?
I think it mostly has to do with kind of time and space. Mm-hmm. There was quite a bit of anxiety leaving the SI institution, and so getting that a bit of space, getting security, getting friends, and figuring out things are still safe here. It's okay to stretch and relax, not get too comfortable, but still not just bunch up and hiss, essentially, cat.
Yeah, not wander off into the woods and
just never
scrape up a few trees.
Right, don't want that. So I think it more so had to do with just kind of characters progressing, figuring out which things work, which things don't, and
that gift growth or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anton.
Yes.
I'm not in. Yes, hello. So as the season progressed, we've actually seen a lot of friction between Mel and Anton. What are your thoughts on this? Like, what maybe gives some thinking behind it, or thinking about it, or what's
my thinking on it is that every person that's in this coterie is an independent person with their own direction of how things should go, and we all got assembled together by Falcon at the start of season 1. So we were never the Justice League. We were always the Avengers. That's where all the code words were there for it. So stuff like this was always inevitable. Like in season 1, it was Thomasina and Mel butting heads the whole way through, and it's gotten to a point where now when it's a lot more like strategic type stuff, it's Mel and Anton who approach problems in 2 very different ways.
That's true. That is very true. One of them approaches with fire, and one of them approaches with etiquette.
Well, more so like Mel approaches problems like with a lot of diplomacy, and she's very like take charge of the situation and wrangle all of the cats and make sure that they're all in order. Whereas Anton is very like
poorly.
acute. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm following because like we got to see her use Majesty. I think was the
season 2. She's Majesty. I think she's it again this season as well at the
with
Tabernacle.
Yep,
Yes.
Tabernacle episode.
And then and Anton is very accumulate all the knowledge on the situation and then just enact the thing because he has all of the knowledge on the situation. So when you have like the Sabbat issue going on where Anton's like, I have all of the knowledge about the Sabbat and how they act and how to deal with them, and Mel is very like, I got this. I am a take charge, in charge person. I can deal with this with diplomacy. They're going to clash over and over again in that capacity. In the same way that like Thomasina and Mel clashed based off of their different approaches to situations, the same way that Aaron, I imagine, will wind up clashing more with people as things develop. Jackson went out the gate butting heads, so we're already there. But yeah, we're all very unique individual folks, and it's going to come to that in some capacity.
Yeah.
I'm going to start thinking of Jackson's Avengers codename. Not now.
He's Black Widow. So
I'm looking at this.
that actually transitions to a really interesting character. Ian, were you worried about bringing a Sabbat character into a Camarilla game? Like, we know Ellie's a good storyteller, and she doesn't get to stop me from complimenting her right now.
No, she doesn't. She can't argue with
Physically
me.
cannot. She has to run the board.
Yeah, so, yeah, she's an amazing storyteller.
And doing very good at running the board.
But were you worried about bringing a Sabbat character into a Camarilla game, or even a non-Camarilla character? Because there have been hints that Jackson might be independent or Anarch even.
I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say he's definitely not Camarilla. But he was never actually Sabbat, and that will probably, and he said that, but he hasn't gone into a lot of detail yet, and I don't want to go into that now. Short answer is no, because I've been playing Vampire since 1999, and I've always put the politics of the game second to like the personal horror aspects of it, so I don't care about that. Like, he was originally meant to be a one-off character for the Family Holiday special.
Right.
I didn't care if he died. So I wasn't concerned about it. And then when he didn't, and I ended up moving to Atlanta, and Ellie invited me to come on the show more, I was just like, cool, this is going to be really fun.
That's right, because this is your first time in the studio at the table since moving. Right?
No, I was in the finale.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, you were, because you transformed into a cougar, tiger, jaguar.
Big cat.
So I never actually said this, but he's actually a Canadian lynx, which are massive, but still smaller big cats.
Yeah.
They're stocky.
Yeah.
They're strong.
Yes, they're strong.
And they have the floofs.
Yes. He is actually very floofy when he transforms.
It's hard to tell with all the blood covering him.
Yeah.
You racked up quite a kill count in the finale,
Yes.
though. It was amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, the finale was very interesting. I don't think we've seen that level of combat in this show to date.
You typically don't see that level of combat in Vampire, given how it's structured. But Ellie took like a very good like initiative and combat system.
Unless you're playing a Sabbat game.
Yeah, unless you're playing a Sabbat game, sure. But at that point, it's just rampant killing. But she took a combat system that I think you said was reminiscent of like V20, like older style initiative.
Yeah.
And also like also elements of like D&D combat system, and just made it really work in the same fluidity as just the way that she will tell a story.
Yeah, that's very true. I actually thought it worked really well for maintaining not control of the narrative, but maintaining fluidity. To have like, here's your turn. Let's go on this.
Yeah. Because we all got to do like big action things, but still like confined into our various spaces to move along.
You have to make it very move and react. You don't have a D&D board or figures to look at.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's all theater of the mind. It's keeping track of, all right, this just happened. Where's my character? And as long as you keep those two things in mind, you can move forward.
We were joking about bringing maps to AVN set last night.
I want it, but I know why it won't work.
Yeah.
It's
Put it on like a
it
little
would.
sticky projector, right?
Ellie makes amazing like mini maps, so I would love to actually have one on the show, but it just doesn't really function.
The obvious solution is to have like a Tiny Tina type because we were talking about Borderlands, a Tiny Tina type like side narrative where it's just a special of Anton taking over. Okay, we're going to play D&D.
Oh God, Anton absolutely would be the dungeon master, and he would just be god awful for everybody.
He'd be a rules lawyer.
Such a rules lawyer.
Jackson would end up flipping a table and like throwing things,
100%.
I mean, you can just channel that into a barbarian character.
which is probably what he would play.
So
Not a
we've
ranger or
asked,
druid?
No.
we've asked previously, like, what your favorite clan was in season 1, right? Has that, and obviously you weren't there for season 1, but you feel free to answer as well. Has that changed over the course of playing different clans, or has that changed over the course of ABN and playing? Like, I know Zach's done a ton of side projects with one shots and other shows.
So I've played Vampire before ATL, but not as much as other World of Darkness stuff, and those are mostly little one-shots. So since starting ATL, I've gotten to do other Vampire projects, and I've made it a point to every project I do, I try to play a different clan that I haven't played before to actually round all of that out. Like I finally got to play Malkavian on a regular basis, which is daunting in its own to play it right, and I fielded a lot of advice from Ellie on that one. I still very much like playing Tremere because I like how much you can do with this one character, as opposed to what I feel are limitations that a lot of the other clans have. But
If you do enough Diablerie, you can do as much as you want.
True. I'm talking about just at base level. But the companion came out in December, and they released the Ravnos, and those are just so fun when you dig into them. And
you played a Hecata.
I played Hecata just recently for Jasper's Game Day, and that was a staggering amount of fun.
What did you play for the Victorian age?
That was a Gangrel.
That was a Gangrel, yeah.
As a Gangrel, but I didn't really get to do all the Gangrel-based stuff that I had put into him.
Yep.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I would love to play Maxwell again and actually flesh out the Gangrel. But yeah, the Hecata was a Samedi bloodline.
Yep.
Which is from like the old games, and that was. I want to play that character again in some capacity. I was shocked how much fun I had with him.
And then
What about you guys?
Ian, Tyler?
So, to date, I've just played Gangrel and I guess half La Sombra. I've been enjoying more and more of the La Sombra aspects, though. Just that kind of otherworldly stuff that you can interact with the world more, but there's a little bit of a negativity to it, that oblivion, that nasty aspects to it. So it's kind of fun to see you can be really thorough with some of the disciplines with La Sombra.
Oh, yeah.
It leaves a mark, either on you or on the world somewhere.
I would love to see you play a full La Sombra with all of its
That would be
ruthlessness
awesome.
that comes with it.
That'd be
Yeah.
I mean, Diablerie Alejandra, and you can. I mean,
Nah,
what?
You
What?
can't multi-class like that.
Do you mind if I give a little bit of history?
Sure,
Since,
go
like
ahead.
I said, I've been playing since '99.
Yeah.
When I started playing Vampire, my favorite clan was Malkavian. And then that evolved over time, and my three favorites now, and for a while now, are Ravnos, which everyone knows because it's my Twitter handle, Gangrel, which Jackson is actually the most I've gotten to play a Gangrel in modern day settings, because I have a Dark Ages Gangrel that I really love too.
Right.
And then Tremere.
Yeah. You played Tremere for a while, and then you brought Tremere out for the Victorian game as well.
I played Tremere a lot in V20, and I also played Ventrue a lot in V20, which are fun. But I played my Ventrue more like La Sombra.
Ventrue have been surprisingly, because we've gotten to play a little bit on the play-by-post. Ventrue have been surprisingly fun to play as villains, though.
Yeah.
They make great villains.
The Ventrue I played was a 16th or 17th century Russian warlord
That's fun.
That's awesome.
who actively sought out being embraced.
Ha. I dig it.
Yep.
I've never
That's
gotten to play a
valid.
Ventrue or a Toreador so far.
Yet.
Both
Well,
are
that's
fun.
that's also similar to your, because I know you and Ellie play in a Vikings game. That's sort of similar to I don't remember Bjarni.
Yarny
Yeah.
the Gangrel.
Bjarni is my Dark Ages Gangrel,
Yep.
who is probably my favorite character of all time because he's a literal Viking berserker.
Oh yeah, that's everything that,
Oh.
that everything
Everything that
you
encompasses
love and hold dear.
me.
And actually, talking about the different time periods brings up one of the questions the fans wanted to ask is where did it go? I was literally just looking at it. If you were to play a historically set VTM game, what time period would you enjoy seeing in a version of your current character for ABN in?
Okay, that qualifies some things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
It changes the question a little bit.
Anton would hate it. But I would just love to see him in like an Arthurian medieval setting, just with the sheer wizardry that would come from it. He would hate it from the lack of modern culture, but just to watch him really Tremere it up, like and Tremere it up with like little to no consequence, because like the first Inquisition is very clearly that army, and the vampires are very clearly this army. There's not a whole lot of hiding that's necessary there.
The masquerade is that.
Like you have it, but at this point, like, no, it's cool. I can be the dark wizard over here.
Yeah. I gotta think about
Apart
this.
from
I like
Okay.
how you're trying to voluntold each other.
Yeah. Jackson,
Yeah.
as hinted at in the finale, Jackson is older than he said he was when he met the Shepherds, but not that old. I think we figured out he's younger than Anton.
Off camera, we figured out that
Yeah.
he's younger than Anton, but yeah, he's still older than the 5 years that he claimed he was.
Oh yeah. He would probably like more recent. Like he'd probably be more interested in exploring like the mid 20th century.
I
Like,
thought you
the
were going to
stuff
say,
like-
the 90s, back when, like,
He
Christina
wasn't-
Aguilera and Britney Spears.
No, he was Kindred during the 90s. No, he'd probably be interested in seeing like his actual, like his parents and grandparents' generation.
Oh.
So I think that would actually be interesting because he'd fit in there really well too.
Because he misses his parents and grandparents, or because he wants to kill his parents and grandparents?
That's a
Stay
question
tuned.
for season 5 or 6.
Stay tuned while I figure out what his desire and ambition are, because he was a one-shot character.
One thing at a time. One thing at a time. I don't have a really good answer. I like the 80s, so I would probably just put him in the 80s.
Get some, like, Wolf of Wall Street Aaron going.
Exactly.
I want to see film noir Aaron. I want to see 20s. 30s.
Gumshoe, right?
That'd be really
Yeah.
cool, actually.
That's what I was thinking with Jazz. I was like, oh man, the 20s.
Yeah, I want to see Detective Aaron.
So, for those of you who are in the house, I don't know that you briefly went into the house.
Yeah. Staring
So,
contest.
Sirius's room appears to be plain, as far as we know, or is. It might be plain. What personal touches do your characters have in their rooms or havens, or because I know that some of you have havens outside of the home,
Not anymore.
or had past tense, I guess.
Jackson does.
Yeah.
Time to go burn down a house, I guess. Oh, sorry.
Get all the good stuff out first.
Gas canisters, no.
You have anything personal for Aaron?
I think in the player server we described some of like in his head what it looked like, which is just dirty. A lot of scraps, a lot of old personal things, but to the character himself, he doesn't really get attached to things. So it could be stuff that he found, old clothes.
Does he have like remnants of some of his touchstones? Like
Probably.
yeah.
He moved around a lot, and I think going from his embrace all the way to Atlanta, there was a period where he was just in the woods with his sire, so didn't have or keep up with anything. So what's in his room now is more than likely just junk, which to me is just fine.
Taco Bell packets.
Taco Bell. Yeah,
So much
exactly. Just Taco Bell packets and wrappers. It's all it is. In a little like cellar under the tiny home.
Right.
Do you have anything like personal to Jackson?
Yeah, actually, so Jackson does have some personal belongings that he's currently got stashed somewhere. This will give a hint as to how old he actually is. A lot of band posters, stuff that his jacket might give away. He lives like a pretty normal person who is into hard rock and
A
British
normal
heavy
living
metal.
dead guy.
Yeah, normal living dead guy.
Thank you.
This is a safe place. You can share spoilers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially with the cast you're going to be working with.
Anton moved into the basement, like, as opposed to one of the many bedrooms that's upstairs. Like, he straight up, like, the little, like, trapdoor thing that like leads down into this, like, the sub basement area. He took that as his space and installed, like, a ladder to climb back up the other trap one, and like
Right.
a one of those like cloth slides, so you don't just straight drop. And he tried to make it. He couldn't like easily recreate like his apartment that nobody seemed to know that he had, but he did his best to recreate the more like personal elements of the Athenaeum, but made it a bit more, what's the word, pragmatic.
So no dolly posters.
No, I mean
is what
there are
we're
dolly
hearing.
posters, but as opposed to like, whereas the Athenaeum was more of a museum, the things that are in the things that are in the crypt are more tools of the trade. They're more it's a lot more ritual components, a lot more things that he would have to implement, things that he is experimenting with to figure out how to get stuff back to normal.
Does he have like an office hours sign from his old university office?
I mean, yeah, like if you try to come down, he'll notice immediately because it's a giant drop door. But yeah, like he just took that whole little like circle area that is directly under the crypt that has the elevator on the other end that leads down into the Giovanni tomb.
Yeah.
And he just, that whole circle, because there's nothing back there around the
Right.
elevator, that whole circle is just lined with his stuff. It's shelves and books and resources.
That one cardboard box that nobody ever unpacks.
Yep, which is the one that he pulled the clothes from the finale out of.
So, kind of going into more serious territory, what, for those of you who have been interrogated by the council, what question did your characters hate the most?
I think this was the last question, which was, what can you do more to help along the lines of the city? And Aaron's response was, get more involved in the city politics,
I'm sure the storyteller will make a note of that.
which he absolutely hated, but is starting to recognize more and more that you can't just ignore what's going on in the city.
Yeah.
He might not be very good at playing the game, but sitting back is just going to lead to incursions, war, stuff that you could have prevented. So giving his 2 cents should be more helpful than just laying back.
Right.
No, totally. The only question that I hated was Anton hated was having to then backpedal and recover from the whole like there was a vote thing that Aaron
It wasn't thank you for your service?
No, that was the thing. That wasn't the question, but that was the thing that Anton hated the most was thank you for your service.
Yeah.
'Cause, that was the point where face just dropped and
Oh, you could see it.
oh yeah, and it's because it's one of those things of like that's how you view everything that I had to deal with was
Right.
thank you for your service.
And I'm sure we'll find out more about that. Has Jackson even met the council?
Jackson has not had the pleasure yet.
Pleasure might be a strong word.
It's gonna be
The
highly
council,
entertaining if
the
he
council
does.
are very interesting.
It's gonna be very interesting if he does meet them.
Yeah. So, speaking of a lot of the changes that have happened getting into the local politics, the Shepherds have gotten to see the new prince and his court in action for a few months, including Dot. How does what is happening compare to what you thought would happen prior to the election?
I've been surprised to see Alpha as open and involved as he has been. The way that he seemed to be going into it was he'd do the job, he'd get it done, but actually seeing him on the ground, either doing like I forget the actual term for it, or discipline, but like the super majesty that he did pretty much.
Presence, yeah.
Thank you. And figuring out, or interacting within the art gallery, just things that aren't natural to him, and seeing him not do it super well because he's the prince, but struggle at it, which is nice to see.
Seeing him wear actual decent clothes.
Clothes would be nice. Yes, a step in the right direction.
Please put on pants.
Pants he wears, shirts
Sometimes.
are different.
Sometimes.
He's worn pants around us every time. A shirt has been optional though. Mine is the same answer, but inverted. I was surprised to see less of what he would normally do, because Anton voted for him based on his, action plan and just like, I'm going to go do this thing and I'm doing the thing, even if he thought, please don't go out and try to fight everything on your own. And the sheer fact that he hasn't gone out and tried to fight everything on his own is staggering.
Yeah, that's actually true, especially
And-
given we've seen, because of the vignettes, we've seen Alpha in action.
Yeah, and when he was in the sheriff role, where that would be more appropriate.
You have Jackson.
But yeah, I always knew that Alpha was going to just like guide the city pretty solid, but I thought it would be at the risk of potentially getting injured or dying, because he was like, I handle it.
Yeah,
But
he thought
the-
he would lead from the front.
Yeah, but the sheer amount that he seemingly hasn't, I'm going to say seemingly because too much happens in the city for us to know everything that's going on. But the sheer amount that he hasn't done that has been a pleasant surprise for Anton.
Delegating.
And then Jackson wasn't in town before the election,
Nope.
and he's not even aware of the election as far as I'm
Nope.
aware.
No, he doesn't know about the election. He's met Alpha once.
Yeah.
Does the idea of a gangrel prince surprise him, intrigue him?
He
What-
was very surprised, and is very interested in learning more. He actually very much enjoyed meeting Alpha.
Yeah, because not to get too like high clans, low clans, but like the gangrel are often considered a low clan.
Oh yeah, I mean, Jackson has never had a home, so he's very interested in what a gangrel-led kind of Camarilla city has to offer.
Well, Denise is willing to house pretty much all gangrels, sometimes to her detriment.
So he knows very well.
For Tyler, back in season 3, Aaron rejected Anton's offer to learn Oblivion from him. What changed for Aaron that he allowed it this season?
I think from a player perspective, it was my realization, because that was the same night that Anton got the message that another kindred had been taken by the SI. And near as Aaron could tell, Cirrus had mopped up the floor after the rescue of himself to figure out, all right, I think we got them all. So to realize that this is going to keep spreading and I can't just sit on it, maybe Anton can get some answers, would be a nice way to take the direction of either conceal, don't feel, or spread it out, let it go.
Yeah, and this was not a question I had planned. So, for those of you who are, aware of the fact that there are SI in town, do you think you're going to spend part of next season like planning on how you want to infiltrate the SI facility? Do you think you're going to spend some time prepping materials or?
The more fighting we can do, the better.
And just quickly jumping back, the only reason that Anton even asked Aaron again is because originally when you said no, it was because we didn't know what that blood combination did with the injections. But then you fed on Alejandro
Right.
to actually like have true Oblivion control. So and when Anton found that out, he was like,
It's
You
not
can
going
have-
to be...
"You're good now.
Yeah.
You're
it's
not a
gonna
weird
be
medical
glitchy,
experiment." Yeah.
Right.
It's like a cat with a cheeseburger. It's a Tremere with a new ability.
Exactly. And to that note, yes, but I don't know if Anton would want to necessarily plan to invade the SI facility, considering there's so much stuff going on with the Sabbat right now. The only way he would consider doing that would be if it then clued the SI into the Sabbat to send them at each
The
other.
enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, he's more interested right now in seeing if he can get the SI away from the Athenium, so he can just get all of his shit back.
Valid.
He's lost the building, but if he can at least get all of his shit back, because there's still stuff in there that Lucita didn't take that he very much wants.
Yeah, and that Cirrus didn't bring back to him.
Yeah, well, he only brought back
Yeah.
the flamethrower. Poor guy.
And then is Jackson? I don't know if Jackson's even aware of how much SI there is in Atlanta.
I'm not even sure Jackson is aware of what the SI is.
That's true.
So that'll be interesting to decide and figure out going into season 5.
Welcome to Atlanta. We've
Yeah.
got problems.
Welcome to Atlanta. Roll Dex and Drive, and then roll to dodge this gunfire.
Yeah. He's got a lot of decks. He'll be fine.
So, let's see. So for Zach, one thing that's become more apparent with Anton this season is the trauma that you're still carrying from the final nights. And you kind of hinted at it. And the fallout from that trauma. To what extent is Anton informed by the mindset of I'm never going to let this happen again? Or is he starting to slip into a mindset of I shall learn my enemy's methods to defeat them more effectively?
Yes to both. Yes to both, but the latter one came into play a lot earlier, as was evidenced by some of the techniques that he used in the finale. For those of you who are familiar with the mechanics of what he was doing, I won't spoil too much of the how, because I imagine that question might come up. But yeah, some of the stuff that Anton did, is not stuff that you're necessarily supposed to just up and have.
Right, like setting yourself on fire is not normally a kindred move.
But it is a lot more of the survivalism. This isn't going to happen again.
Yeah.
And that has been very much his informing of things. And it's because, and I'll say this part because I think I've hinted at it before, Anton is not a soldier, no matter how much everybody says that he is.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it, but he is not a soldier. He is a survivor of what happened.
That's true. So I originally wrote this question for Ian because you and Ellie play Iron City by Night, and I was going to say, what characters from Iron City by Night would you want to see in Atlanta? Because it's so close. Well, I mean, Books is neat and but I could expand that to all of you. Like, what Kindred or other World of Darkness characters would you love to see from other canons, like LA by Night, or because we've had a couple of players who have been able to come with us, but not characters from like LA by Night or Montgomery by Night or Iron City by Night.
Hard mode, don't say Beckett.
Look, if we could.
Hard mode, don't say Beckett.
I think Aaron would be really
taxi driver from
intrigued by
Bloodlines.
that.
Yes. Actually, you know what? If that taxi driver from Bloodlines showed up and Anton got to talking with him, that'd just be the whole episode. Anton's like, I'll catch up with you later. I'm talking.
I already know what Ellie's answer to this would be because it would be that security guard from Bloodlines.
Chunk, yes. Absolutely bring Chunk into the show. You know what?
No.
Ellie, play Chunk.
No.
Actually, Ellie has sort of already played Chunk because the dude that was managing Talbot's building in season 1 was extremely reminiscent of Chunk.
He was Chunk-like, as it
Oh
were.
yeah, he was Chunk-like.
He was what is it, like Ruben-esque, but he was Chunk-esque.
Yes. and that was 100% an homage to it and just done flawlessly.
And near as we can tell, he's still alive. Could come back.
I don't know who I'd want from other shows, like other just general shows. I can't, and I say that in the extent of I can't just pick one. I would kind of love to see just our coterie run into another coterie.
Oh, that would be... Well, you kind of did in the finale.
Kind of, but I'm talking like...
But it's called a pack for the spot.
But I'm talking like it's a nightmare for Ellie and whatever other storyteller wants to coordinate this.
Scooby-Doo meets the Globetrotters.
Exactly,
right.
Exactly. That's what I'd actually like, because I can't just think of one person.
It'd be like that Scooby-Doo Batman Detectives crossover comic. Y'all are Scooby-Doo.
Or just Scooby-Doo and whoever else.
Every time.
Having run crossover games before, they're complicated. I'm going to give it a shout out to my favorite recurring characters from LA by Night, which are the Valkyries.
Yes.
That would be cool.
They'd be a lot of fun.
They're awesome.
And my say would be the Thin Bloods that we saw on... I think it was one of like the much
Ellie's
larger
Sabat game?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was really fun
Was it
to
a
see.
spot game or was it one of the Vancouver games?
It was one of the larger charity games.
Okay.
Was it? Yeah, it was. But where Ellie was playing, I think, a Thin Blood.
Yep.
That was one of the
Who was
Vancouver
also
ones.
Darla, I think, if I
Right.
remember correctly.
No,
Or
she
was
wasn't
that a
Darla.
different? Oh,
No,
I'm
that was
mixing up
that was
names.
Ellie and Jake
She
from
does so
Q
many
Times.
games.
It was Ellie and Jake from Q Times, and then Melee was a Caitiff, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that crew would be a blast to run into.
Just the dynamic that they had, the lightheartedness with a very dark world was very fun to see.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, so this is the first season we've had the fully functional play-by-post server.
Yes.
Has that informed how you've played at the table, or has that affected how you've played at the table at all? I mean, obviously, the reference to a kindred getting taken by the SI, I know that we worked that out on the play-by-post server.
Right.
Not Join the Play-by-Post server. Sponsor us on Patreon.
It's helped me personally a bit because I think I wound up like interacting with other people a bit more than these guys have. It's helped me a bit because of how social of a person Anton is, but he only exists at this table with the people that show up here. So having another place with other people for Anton to actually interact with and build a personality around, even though he has like a 4-season established personality, that's helped my ability to play a lot more because I suddenly can put myself into this character exists 24/7. And that's been extremely helpful.
Yeah.
I've loved to see more along the lines of how people play and kind of the internal thoughts you get to see with the player post of it's not just us sitting at a table acting out and saying this is what's happening or this is how I'm feeling. You get to kind of take a step back, flush out a paragraph or two of this is what this person's thinking, or maybe before they even talk with Anton, this is what they think about him as they're walking into the Waffle House.
Yeah.
Well, you also wrote a fantastic scene.
Yes, you
Play-by-Post.
did.
It was a lot of fun to do.
Yes,
That was
did.
really good.
Wrote a couple of really fantastic scenes, I might say.
Aw.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've done 2 or 3 different scenes on the Play-by-Post.
Because
Yes.
actually feeding on Alejandro happened in the Play-by-Post server,
Yes.
so the Patreon people got to actually see what happened.
So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and a bit more, which was really, really good.
Yeah. I don't really have time to interact a lot on the Play-by-Post server. I run a TTRPG company, so
Yeah.
but no.
Oh, we're not judging you for not participating. We're
I am.
just,
But
we're
you
just
are.
staring at you and telling you that you need to join us. Join
I
us.
read a lot of it, but I like reading what these two are doing and what like some of the viewers are doing with their characters. But maybe going into season 5, I'll find a little bit more time to post there. Maybe. We'll see.
I'm actually going to miss, I said this in the server, I'm going to miss not being able to play Anton for like another month or so while we figure out what the hell happened.
Yeah.
Because we're still locked in that like closet
Yep.
while my arms are on fire. So yeah, I'm going to miss not being able to interact until I know what exactly happened. Because for all I know, I'm going to die in season 5, episode 1. I have no idea what's going to happen because it hasn't happened yet. So I can't do anything yet.
Season 5 is exactly 1 episode long.
I said me, not we.
The entire coterie dies, roll new characters.
Yep.
That's why we brought you in. Just replacement.
What do we got? So the first time we saw Jackson was the Christmas episode where he was already working with Lydia. What is it that brought him to the point of working with Lydia, and what changed for him over the season? Feel free to say no comment, but we're asking.
Okay.
The viewers want to know.
So, Jackson and Raphael were recruited because they had been run out of city after city. And I won't say why yet, but
Too many explosions.
it did, that might be part of it. Jackson knows how explosives work, sorry. And for Jackson, he had never found a place in kindred society. He was never accepted in cities because he is a Tarkus. He does not believe in the politics of the Sabbat, or the Camarilla or the Anarchs. He had never met Sabbat before. So when Lydia just didn't give a shit and was like, yeah, sure, that's fine, whatever. This is a home for you. He was legitimately intrigued.
You're a warm body with big claws. I like that.
A cold body, but yeah.
Cold body with big claws,
Well,
but yeah.
blush of life, maybe.
Sure, maybe. But he didn't really know what the Sabbat was about, and he didn't care. And then he found out. And that was the change. He was, because he is older, he was very quickly given his own pack to lead, which included Raphael, although they knew each other beforehand. And then he was given a mission, and he successfully completed that mission, which was to infiltrate the shepherds. Specifically, it was to infiltrate the school, and then the shepherds. And he did not like how Lydia rewarded his success because she flesh-crafted his entire pack and left them as frenzying, broken, non-human things.
Were those
reward.
the lumps?
Yep. Yep, those were the lumps in the finale.
My lumps. My lovely
Clump
lumps.
of lumps.
So Jackson mercy killed his entire pack,
They were beanbags.
Yeah. And
I fail to see how that's a reward.
yeah, it's not. It's not. She gave him his pack back.
Okay.
But
Here, you can sit on them now.
yeah,
Some
not.
ECN chairs.
That feels like the kind of thing that you get when she goes, I told you to infiltrate the shepherds and you just went on field trips with them.
This was not the type of infiltration I meant.
Right.
He got information. But yeah, he was unhappy. He was very unhappy with that because he felt like it was yet another betrayal that he had already gone through his entire kindred on life. So he gonna kill her.
So what you're saying is that don't ask about the personal decorations now. Ask about later once he cuts her head off and puts it on his wall.
Yes.
He's gonna have a nice Mariana's
little-
Trench mermaid head on his
Have
wall.
like a little
Assuming it stays in
shadow
one piece
box.
when you cut it off.
He'll figure out a way.
Have like a little shadow box of Lydia's head with like some nice.
I mean, Ellie, do we still have all that plastination stuff in the basement? I still have the whole thing down there. Ellie's saying yes, so we're good.
Perfect.
Just kill her in our house.
Immediately dump her into plastination.
Hey, no. We
Plaster.
torpor her first, and then just bring her by, and we'll do some fun.
you don't
Perfect.
you don't dump people into plastination. It's a whole thing.
No, by dump them into plastination, he means hand it off to us and go, just do it.
Make it so.
Create me a masterpiece.
Yeet. So until Jackson joined, Aaron's been the only gangrel in the coterie. How does he feel about having another gangrel around? Are there jealousy issues? Like, oh, this is my little brother, or like?
I don't think so. I think there's more, I guess, apprehension, because as soon as we found out Jackson was Sabat and did a whole lot of infiltrating and maybe have somewhat compromised the Denise's compound, there's a little bit of just bristling that could have happened. So we'll see once we get out of whatever situation we may be in season 5. We'll see how that resolves, and hopefully no one dies.
I want to give you some major credit though, because you looked like you were about to murder him.
Oh yeah,
that was astounding.
And Jackson trying to be like, no, not me.
Yeah.
'Cause I realized during the shows, like, that's something Jackson once was a home, but in getting there, he might have tainted it a little bit. So we've got to do some damage control, figure out where our mole problem is, and then we can get you a nice little bunker.
One half of it is dead now, as far as I'm
Right.
aware.
Jackson took care of that himself.
Damn straight he did.
He
He
said
said he
he
would.
was going
I said I'd fix the problem.
That was arguably your desire for that episode that you then accomplished.
So then that brings up an interesting question. Lydia shape-crafted, flesh-crafted. I'm good at words. That's why I do them. Flesh-crafted most of your pack. Did she flesh-craft Raphael as well? Or
Nope,
do we
Raphael
know
is-
Raphael's fate?
Raphael is still at Olivia's school.
So he's a gangrel, right? Gangrel at large?
No, he's a Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a Nos? Okay.
Yeah, but he's just chilling.
He's just a very edgy
Enjoying the
Nos.
free
Yeah.
food.
Yeah, enjoying the free food, failing all the classes. It's great.
Terrible.
Almost definitely failing all the
Oh yeah,
classes.
no, I think that was part of that was either one of the episodes or one of the play-by-post things where I was talking about like Jackson's like he's kind of getting it. Raphael's not quite getting it.
There's one thing I had to hint at. I think when I came back, it was like the episode with the first one we played with Mel. So
Episode two,
episode
yeah.
2.
Yep.
He was like, Jackson's like, yeah, Olivia says I'm excelling because he's like pretending he doesn't know anything about Kindred Society or how to interact with it, and just kind of like floating through all the classes. So Ellie and I had talked afterwards, and she's like, "Oh yeah, he's basically already ready to graduate this school if he wants to. He's just sticking around because he has to because of what Lydia wants him to do."
Oh yeah, I imagine that Anton's looking like. You seem like you don't give a shit. You're slacking, but you're getting everything right. So I can't
you
do
do
anything.
That was just me in school.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
I got
that's
so
an
much trouble.
entire gifted kid ADHD
Oh, yeah.
move.
I got
Oh,
so
yeah.
much trouble for staring out the window. Literally, all passing grades. She's staring out the window. We don't know what to do with it. So I get that. I relate to Jackson on that level.
Yes. Oh yes.
This was one of the more interesting characters that I thought the viewers submitted. So, what were your characters like as teens? And if they could have met, which obviously wouldn't be possible in literal time, but if they could have met, do you think they would have gotten along? And who amongst the shepherds would have been the alpha teen?
Not Anton.
This is like Looney Tunes babies.
Yeah, essentially.
I like it. Aaron, backstory-wise, has a big family, and so he probably would have fit in pretty nicely, I think, with whatever amount of younger kindred, or not kindred, but coterie that we ended up having.
Teendred.
Right. Stop it.
Kindred.
Kindred.
Mm-hmm.
Anton didn't come to America until he was 19, and also did not really develop the personality that is known for Anton until he was already here in college. So the teenage Anton that was still back in St. Petersburg would have been a staggeringly different one.
Was he a punchy boy then?
A little bit.
It's a reference to the name.
Yep. A little bit, but really just a lot more sad overall, and a lot more sad. It's gonna sound funny given who he is, but I mean this in sort of like the introverted kind of way. A lot more bookwormish.
So a teenager.
Yeah, but like again, just
Like a goth teenager.
but
Yeah.
but without all the goth shit. Very.
You can't tell me Russia's not goth.
It is, but like goth wasn't really a
I
thing.
mean, technically.
Goth wasn't a thing while he was over there. Very antithesis of Anton as we know him right now. So, yeah, like I said, he would not be the alpha teen. He would be.
He was
he'd be the
proto
quiet kid.
Anton.
Yeah, he'd be the quiet kid that was still kind of punchy.
Jackson was embraced at 20. So what you see is what you get, more or less.
I mean, 16 to 20. I remember
that
being
was different,
16
yeah.
and being 20, and it was a big difference.
Oh no, Jackson was definitely the like dropped out of school. Like how he acts now is more or less how he acted as a teenager.
Oh, was he like embraced while he worked at the record store?
Yeah, more or less, yeah. Yeah.
The indie record store that also sold zines off of its front counter.
But I will hazard a guess that of the three of us, he's the most likely to be the alpha.
Yeah.
But of the entire coterie, sans Jackson, it would probably be Thomasina.
Yeah, I would definitely see Thomasina or Mel. Though I think there's a solid contender with Hex, considering how young she is and how modern she is. So like it's not that far of a leap back in terms of like of culture and whatnot for her.
Actually,
Sybil would be a nice contender.
Sybil is actually a solid contender.
Yeah.
As well.
Oh, Sybil's a walking nuclear bomb. This brings up an interesting question. Everyone here's read Animorphs, right?
No.
I know you have.
You know I have.
I was going to say, who would you slot the characters in Animorphs archetypes? Because
It'll take me a bit too long to actually think of the entire coterie.
Next time,
Yeah.
next year.
No,
next month.
like right.
What's next season?
But like right here, I would probably go with Tobias, Jake, and Marco.
Those are
Okay.
words.
Yeah, from the group.
Okay.
Those are words.
Some people out there will know.
There we go.
Someone out there is watching this partially because they relate to the fact that Zach likes Animorphs.
Yeah.
I can practically guarantee it.
I think sitting next to Zach, though, I get enough osmosis of Animorphs that eventually I'll be able to answer the question.
It's okay.
Animorphs
I can just bring all 60 books one day. It's fine.
Animorphs
No.
fans are like ride or die for Animorphs fans.
You've noticed.
You know, it's the only so far only non-problematic fandom I've ever been a part of. In my
Knock wood
entire
that
life.
stays that way.
Oh, the movie's going to be coming out. We'll see what happens.
Let's see. What else do I have? I have. Already asked that one. Oh, I think I actually went through all of mine, and we even have a couple minutes left. So, we've all had a busy season. Are there any projects that y'all want to promote, or any social media you want to promote?
Everyone looks at me because I run a company. 'Cause
You're
we have-
the most concise to promote.
We have a lot of stuff going on over at Gehenna Gaming, so I'm one of the three founders of Gehenna Gaming, gehennagaming.com, twitch.tv/Gehenna Gaming. We have a lot of really cool projects coming up. We run Saturday Night One Shots, which are like an opportunity to learn how to play a new RPG. Ellie has run some of
I was
them
gonna say,
for
Ellie's
us.
run a
Zach's
couple. I
been
think
in
Zach's
some
played
with
with you.
me and other people. I think the last one we did was Deadlands, which was really cool. And then I know that you did Cyberpunk Red with
you,
me right when it came out. We
Yeah.
had one of the people from Artel Saurian Games run that for us.
Yeah. And I was doing Cult on your guys' thing, on Wednesdays.
Yep, and we have
sometime.
we have Cultist Wednesdays, which we have a new series coming out that's based on Silent Hill. So that's going to be a 3-part
Ooh, that's
mini
fun.
series on Wednesdays. I think starting next Wednesday.
Wow.
Monday Night Monster Hearts just wrapped the season 2 of the show and we have a new show coming out in a few, 4 to 8 weeks, I think.
I'm sure it's on your Twitter.
It probably is on our Twitter. And then we have some really cool Saturday night games coming up with Ellie as well that I'm very excited to promote.
I've heard some very interesting things, and
So-
Likewise.
I'm hype.
So yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
That's all I'll say. No, that one's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be a V5 Western with a very cool cast. That's coming up
Awesome.
in May, I think.
You haven't told a date.
We
as far
haven't
as
picked a
I'm aware.
date, but it'll be in May.
Yeah.
And we have some cool stuff coming up between them. We just did our charity event, VHC, and I can keep talking, so I'm going to stop. But just Google Gehenna Gaming, Gehenna as in like vampires, Gehenna. Yeah.
Not just vampires, it's also biblical.
Yeah.
Well,
but
yeah, it's also
And
which
I
is
think
actually
it's
where the
in-
name of the company came from.
It's also in the Talmud, I think.
That's why it's biblical.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the Talmud. I have a degree in religious studies, and I actually took the name from biblical history rather than V5.
Yeah, and I'm Jewish, so that's my book. No, I'm very excited for that
Nice.
Western game. Like that's gonna be
really good.
really cool.
Yeah.
I am in Vancouver, adjacent by night on Level Up _TTV, like on Saturdays. That's where I play my Malkavian with the just absolute chaos crew that I run with, and it's a blast. I'm on Carrion Comfort Studios on Sundays playing Crack the Sky. It's a Lancer system, which is mech fighting like Gundam or Mech Warrior or what have you. Very
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim, thank you. Very LGBT centric, very Starship Troopers in like themes. It's a lot of fun. I think we're halfway through the season, so that's on Sundays. I've got a mage game coming up on Carrion Comfort Studios. I'm going to be in April.
Is that the Victorian?
Yeah, it's the Victorian era mage game that the book just got announced or released or kickstarted. I don't remember which one it was.
It's on Indiegogo, yeah.
Indiegogo, thank you. But we'll be playing that. I have something on April 3rd that we haven't announced yet, but please keep the night of April 3rd open because I am looking forward to announcing it. It'll be a lot of fun.
I can't guarantee. That's very close to my birthday.
Just go ahead and keep it open. It'll be a lot of fun. And then, pretty much whatever Gehenna asks me to do and whatever Ellie asks me to do, that's what I wind up doing.
I don't have anything at the moment.
Not even any OnlyFans post to hint at?
No. Once I get a house all settled, I look forward to hopefully participating a bit more, getting some active stuff, maybe doing some spin-off bake shows with Aaron and twins, stuff like that.
Oh my god. Can we please we need to cast some twins right now.
Or just one. There you go.
Just one, he'll play a different twin every episode.
The other one's always out shopping.
Yeah, the one's out getting supplies.
The other one's just stuffed into a closet so they stop adding salt to the cookies.
Every time.
Yeah, I think that's everything I got. And we are very close to our time, so I actually might go ahead and just do wrap up. So thank you so much, gentlemen. And did you have anything else you wanted to throw out there just before the end of the episode?
I did see one question
Yeah.
from Ian or Jackson
Oh.
regarding the
Thank you.
digits. I did want to give a formal response.
See, and I was protecting.
No, this warrants a formal response.
Women protect women. That's why I didn't even ask.
Yeah.
My lawyer has consulted me and given me a candid response to give back to. Fine. Just give Aaron your phone.
Yeah, here, sure. Let me see your phone. I'll put them in. Well done. Well done. Perfect. Nice.
Outstanding.
With that, I think I hear Ellie laughing
Oh,
outside
yes.
too.
She is rolling. It's wonderful.
With that, as a reminder to all our fans, you can join our fan Discord for discussion with cast, crew, and other fans. There will be a link in the Twitch chat, and there's also a link at the bottom of the screen. I am pretty sure, if I remember the layout, that it's off to that direction. I'm probably pointing the opposite direction of what it is because that would be my luck. Make sure that you check out rustedicon.net for the Renasherie Camarilla pint glasses that are gorgeous. They're, I think, a 12-ounce pint glass?
Yeah, it's a 12-ounce
Or are they
pint
an English
glass.
pint where they're 16 ounces?
They're tall. They're tall and red.
You know what? They are actual tempered glass barware. I think they're 16.
They might be 16-ounce pints.
Because I know that there's also a Gehenna Gaming one.
Yeah.
So you actually get a bonus third to your pint. And make sure you check out our Patreon if you'd like to join the play-by-post server or see OnlyFangs posts like we were referencing, where you can get behind-the-scenes features and blog posts from cast crew. And what are my other announcements? And make sure you go to Atlanta by Night, ATL Night. I am good at this, I promise. Make sure you go to atlbynight.net for the Lost Childer Play Guide so that you can play like you are in Atlanta. And with that, thank you so much for joining us for the first episode of Blood Bonding Season 4. And good night.